Hey guys, SoCal Val here. You are listening to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast.
Welcome everybody back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. I am your host, Adam Cousins. I'm tired. I've just got back from Ignite's Curtain Call 2. What an unbelievable show that was. This is awesome chance. The crowd were electric. The matches were amazing. A big thanks to CJ and the team at Ignite, and congratulations to our champion, Smashing Mike, who defended and overcome the odds in a replacement from Chris Ridgway. Will Cruz gave him an absolute battle. Mark True attacked Smashing Mike at the end of that match. So I don't know. He's coming for our title. He's coming for Mike. We'll wait and see. I'm tired, but I'm going to get out the Collision review for everybody. Collision this week was from Oakland, California. Was main evented by Adam Copeland, Sting, and Darby Allin against the Righteous and Lance Archer. But it started off with a fantastic match between Andrade El Idolo and Daniel Garcia. Interestingly enough, Andrade was managed by CJ Perry, the former Lana of WWE, Miro's wife in this. But this match, so good. And these two, we mentioned how good Daniel Garcia was on the the Dynamite review. It's late, guys. And Andrade's been fantastic. Probably one that WWE really want back at some point, I think, personally. These two were great. The finish in this match become when Andrade fakes a pump kick and hits brutal spinning back elbow. And then the figure eight by Andrade, and Garcia taps. Andrade's been delivering big time on Collision. He really has. Garcia was one of those ones that fought hard, that come up a bit short. But Garcia, I think next year is going to be a massive breakout on Ignite. Breakout on Ignite. I've literally just seen the breakout. Adonis Payne cash in and win his title. Garcia is going to be a breakout in 2024 on Dynamite and AEW in general for next year. But Dalton Castle was next. He was with the boys, and Nick Wayne come out with Christian and Luchasaurus. Wasn't much of a match on this one. There was a big German suplex by Dalton Castle on Nick Wayne. Luchasaurus was on the apron. The boys got hold of him. They got choke slammed to the floor. That actually ended up in a roll up by Castle that got two. Christian got on the apron on the far side as Wayne goes to the eyes, pokes Castle, and connects with Wayne's World from the win. Wasn't really much of a match, but he did say, Wayne did have to fight through some adversity, but come out on top on this. One thing I will say, Dalton Castle, other boys are loved, absolutely loved, which is by the fans, which is always good to get. Now, the next bit here, Hangman Page said it's a shame the things he had to do to take his spot. He said that Swerve crossed the threshold to hell, and now he's got Hangman Page in a Texas death match. Take my money now, whenever that match is. I'm sure it's going to be at Full Gear, but take my money if it wasn't stacked enough as it is when they announced that pay-per-view purchase. Thank you very much. Going to be great. The WorkHorsemen were next against LFI. I'm going to say this: the WorkHorsemen remind me of, this may show my age, everybody. But some of the older viewers will know this. The WorkHorsemen remind me of Power and Glory, Hercules Hernandez and Paul Romeo Roma. If you don't know who they are, go and Google them. They're brilliant. They were a great tag team back in the 80s and 90s. But that's who they remind me of. They were taking on LFI. Again, a really good match. A really, really good match. The WorkHorsemen are really coming up on themselves. And as I said about the Power and Glory, I mean that in a good way. Roosh is an absolute superstar anyway on this. The finish was the top de Helio onto Henry and the bullhorns by Roosh to Drake, and that picked up the winner for the LFI. A good win for LFI. They kind of need a lot of momentum. The WorkHorsemen are great I don't like to use the word enhancement talent because they are more than that, but at the moment they're playing the role of enhancement talent very well. We need to see the Power and Glory, but with them picking up some victories, and hopefully we'll see that maybe down the line, but just not yet on Collision. The House of Pain were here. Malachi Black wants to obtain one thing they desire, the company. And the enemy, what did he say? He said that one thing that they desire most in this company. And he then said that the enemy of our enemy is also our enemy. Kings of the Black Throne versus Big Bill and Ricky Starks at Full Gear. And Julia Hart says that if she beats Willow Nightingale tonight, she wants a rematch with Statlander. Why do I think not the end of Full Gear, but why do I think at Full Gear, House of Black are going to have all the gold? Maybe. But back from the break, Statlander was with Nexi and Willow. She said Willow deserves a shot, and it's going to be a triple threat match at Full Gear. So interesting. Roddy Strong was next. Oh my God. Roddy Strong was next against Darius Martin. The fans were all over this neck strong gimmick that he's got. But listen, again, Roddy Strong, it's nice to see him in the ring. There was some really hard chops from Roddy on this. But again, a really good, not necessarily long match, but a really good match. Really nice to see Roderick Strong in a wrestling match again. Anyway, there was a flying knee and the sick kick at end of the heartache, and this one's over. Roddy Strong picks up the victory on this. But it was nice to see Martin as well, Dante Martin. He put up a good match, and I do like that. Dante Martin, but it wasn't over there. There was a wiener punch by Mike Bennett after the bell and a spike power driver to Martin, which wasn't really necessary, but great to see Roderick Strong back in the ring again. And I can't wait till he gets into some proper matches, longer matches, because Roderick Strong's amazing. They then announced that there was Tony Khan and Bryan Danielson looking a bit like a pirate. I was going to say Pirate Danielson in this one. They announced that he's going to be the first participant in the AEW Continental Classic. We'll see what happens on Dynamite with this, but I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with this. What AEW do well is some good tournaments, and they put on some really good matches in those tournaments. So I'm interested. It's got me intrigued. We will see. The next match fell on was the Willow Nightingale, Julia Hart. Now, this one fell apart a little bit towards the end. It was a real strong match, though. But with Julia Hart being so young, she's getting a lot of reps in, and I really think she may well beat Statlander for the title. Anyway, despite it falling apart near the end, there was a full Nelson slam by Willow. She got the 2 count on that. She looks for the babe with the power bomb, but Hart lands on her backside on that. I'm not quite sure that was meant to happen. Willow then misses the clothesline. Hart clotheslines her from behind, hits the moonsault, picks up the win. So despite it falling apart a little bit, Julia Hart picks up the victory and goes on for Statlander at Full Gear. Big Bill was backstage with Ricky Starks and Lexi Nair. They said they don't care what teams think or what they want because they're not giving them the time of day. Next informs Will they will be defending their titles in a fatal 4-way match against LFI and the House of Black in Full Gear. Wow. Again, money. Powerhouse Hobbs was against some enhancement talent. Literally, Paul White joined the commentary for what it was. Spinebuster all over. Powerhouse Hobbs wins. Simple as that. Don Callis couldn't do it without Don Callis, though, was it? It was in the ring with Powerhouse Hobbs and Carl Fletcher. Callis says his family is the greatest fan of all of pro wrestling. Jericho is scared, so he called the biggest man in pro wrestling, Paul White, who's a stand-up guy, and of course he accepted. Callis said White got shortchanged in the brains department because only an idiot would face the Callis family. Callis basically said he was a scared giant, and Hobbs confronted him at the desk. Callis says he's buried 2 giants in his career. He's happy to have Hobbs make it free. He throws some stuff at White. White throws it back, and then they just basically have a pull apart. FTR have been added to the match at Full Gear. Jesus, yeah. Again, just take my money. As we lead into the main event, which was Darby Allin, Sting, and Adam Copeland versus Lance Archer and the Righteous. What annoys me about this? The Righteous and Lance Archer getting TV time is great. They've just brought the Righteous in to pair up with Jake the Snake and Lance Archer, but they lose the match. There was a Scorpion Death Drop by Sting to Dutch, and Copeland assisted with a diving elbow off the middle rope. Stinger splash to Vincent, who then basically moves off into the spear by Copeland. it did feel like a house show match where the winners was never in doubt, but I just kind of wish that the Righteous and Lance Archer may have done something, after or something like that. Yeah, it just annoys me a little bit because I do like the sign of that team. And it just didn't sit right with me that they lost this match. But nevertheless, they did. And at the end of Collision, says Christian and his family were holding up the titles as Collision was going off the air. Look, really strong episode of Collision, a couple of little bits there. Just not a big fan of the Righteous and Lance Archer losing so quickly as they've been informed. But it is what it is. But guys, this has been the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. I'm going to go and get some sleep, and I'll be back on Monday morning to do a brief review of Rampage. We're going to be reviewing Ignite. We're going to be having some interviews this week. Shah Samuels, Brian Hebner, reviews, NWA with me and the lovely Fiona will be back this week. I'm going to go and get some sleep. Good night, buckle down, and stay safe.